Today will be a day to remember for the rest of your life. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is excited to present the heart of a Hall of Famer program connected by Extreme Networks. With over 100 Hall of Famers participating, we have reached 47 states and countries all over the world, sharing the message that football is more than a game and can teach Americans important life values like commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty.
You have to make right decisions even when nobody's watching you.
Well, respect is not just given out. It's not handed out like a brochure. It's earned.
Today, you are presented with an opportunity to meet and learn from one of the greatest football players of all time. But more important than that, the chance to see that their Hall of Fame life wasn't given to them. They didn't roll out the bed great. They put the work in, on the field, in the weight room, in the classroom, in their communities. They made themselves a Hall of Famer on and off the field.
Your feet can't take you where your mind's never been.
Because you can make it, but it's just gonna take a little hard work and some effort and the drive and determination.
And today, you will learn you can do the same thing they did. You don't have to have a gold jacket or a bronze bust to make a difference in the lives of others. It's your decision whether you want to be a successful student, son, daughter, brother, or sister.
If attitudes are contagious, is your attitude worth catching?
It's integrity as well, because when you decide to pursue something and you don't quit, that says a lot about you.
Commitment to excellence. We can all aspire to be the best.
Welcome to a once-in-a-lifetime program, the heart of a Hall of Famer program, connected by Extreme Networks.
It was an honor for me to play with those great Viking teams, the Purple People Eaters. We were a true example of how teamwork could win championships. And we loved each other. We played with each other on the football field, and we became the closest of friends then and even today, now. Because through all these bad times, they were there when I needed them. And all I can say is never give up your dreams and never give up your faith in God, because He's always there. Thank you very much.
Program here in Canton, our last Heart of a Hall of Famer program connected by Extreme Networks for this school year. We're super excited to have everybody here in our live audience. We got a packed house from a lot of great schools here. We got some awesome guests who have given up their time when they've been touring here in the hall to come here an awesome session. But we are super excited for everybody to be here. We have an awesome program in store for everybody. Our mission here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame is to honor the greatest of the game, to preserve its history, to promote its values, and to celebrate excellence together. And those values we promote are those of commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty, all of which is going to make the guy who's going to be sitting in this chair, made him a Hall of Famer, but also made him a great man. It can make you great students, great teachers, great parents, great sons, daughters, great employees of an organization. These values are so important in today's society, and you're going to hear how these values impacted his life, both on and off the field. My name is Jake Ray. I'm the Youth and Education Manager here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I promise I won't talk that much today. You know, didn't come here to hear from me. You came here to hear from our special guest. And before we introduce our special guest here today, I'd like to pass out some thank yous. First and foremost, I'd like to thank our great partners at Extreme Networks for providing us the opportunity here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame and providing students all over the country the opportunity to hear from our Hall of Famers. It's not every day you get to hear from one of the greatest to ever step on the football field, and Extreme Networks provides us the opportunity to do that for students all over the country, as well as they do a lot of great work for schools all over the country. Also like to thank our teachers and administrators, educators anybody that allowed us to be a part of their school today. Whether you brought students here, you're watching us live on YouTube, we thank you so much for allowing us to just be a small part of our students' learning experience. And then lastly, have to thank the students. Like I said, I don't want to talk the entire time. I've got a bunch of great questions to ask, but this is the opportunity for you to interact with a Hall of Famer. We're excited to hear what your questions are here today and all the great things you have to ask and talk with our special guest here as part of the program. So the schools we have here today, we got some awesome schools. We have Perry High School, Norton Middle School, as well as Lorraine High School here in person. And if you're watching this online, thank you so much for doing so. Throughout the program today, we're going to be taking questions from students right here in our live audience here in Canton. Some students were pre-selected. They've got an awesome note card in the back that we're going to be taking questions from them throughout the program today. If you did not get a question card and you do have a question, find somebody with a Hall of Fame logo on, tell them what your question is, and if we think it's a good question, we'll try our best to make it a part of the program. We ask that you please don't walk in front of the cameras, so find a way to walk around and find those our great staff members here in the room. But no matter where you're watching today, if you're taking pictures, posting stuff on social media, make sure you tag @ProFootballHOF as well as @ExtremeNetworks and use the hashtag HOFvalues, and your post just might be reshared on all of our channels here today. So, like I said, enough of me talking today. You guys didn't come here for that. We're going to introduce our special guest. So I am proud to welcome a Hall of Famer who played in 4 Super Bowls, had 81 career interceptions, with his NFL record, 3-time All-Pro, an 8-time Pro Bowler, and like I said, most importantly, a Hall of Famer. Please welcome Hall of Famer Paul Krause. How you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good. Where's the crowd?
They're all right there for you.
Oh, okay.
They've been waiting patiently.
Well, I don't know about that. Where do you want me?
You'll be in that seat right over there.
All right.
So first and foremost, I'd like to welcome you. We like to call it your second home here in Canton, Ohio, the Hall of Fame. So welcome back. We appreciate you coming out for the program.
Well, thank you.
First question we want to get started with is, you know, the game of football is super important. Obviously, those who've played it know it. You know that. So how has football impacted your life to this day?
It gave me a broken neck, you know, few bones, but no, the impact that you must learn is you're not the boss anymore. You're playing for a coach who is.
Mm-hmm.
And I played for Bud Grant, probably the best coach I've ever seen. And I'll tell you a quick story. I was traded from the Washington, D.C. To the Vikings. And I had met Bud Grant while I was in college at Iowa, and I'm from Michigan. And so when I went to college in Iowa, it was completely different than we played, you know. And in high school in Michigan, we thought we were the best high school football going, you know. And pretty soon we learned that we weren't. But Bud, when I got traded from Washington to the Vikings, I had already known Bud, but he called me up, or not called me up. We were at practice, and Bud says, "Paul," he says, "come on in, walk with me." We'll walk off the field and everything. That's the first time he talked to me since I was traded to him. And he says, "I cannot tell you how to play free safety." And he says, "The only thing I want you to do is don't get beat deep." 4 words. I never got beat deep in the NFL. And after a lot of guys. But Bud told me how I was going to play, back deep, and really, still today, how many guys are getting beat deep on television? They're getting beat deep one play after another, and they still don't get it. I have never had a football coach ask me how I did it. And I'm not going to tell him. I'm not going to tell him. If somebody in here would want to know, I'll tell you. But no coaches.
Can't give away the secrets, right?
No. Well, it's not a secret. It's the way to play the game. And last year and the year before, I saw so many bombs get caught for touchdowns that it's ridiculous. And when I played, they were afraid to throw it. So, and I still got 81 interceptions, and nobody's close.
That's right. Hard to beat. You mentioned your coach, Bud Grant. Obviously, sad news, just passed away last week. What did he mean to you, obviously, as a coach, and taught you how to be a football player? But what did he teach you about being a man and a family man off the field? If you could share a little bit about that.
Yeah, Bud was a different guy. We would come to practice and he would talk about hunting. I don't care, he loved a pheasant hunt, duck hunt, deer hunt, whatever. And if you were a hunter, you had it made, but Bud played professional basketball for the Lakers, professional football for who won who lost the game this year in the Super Bowl?
Eagle.
That's who Bud played for. He was an all-around athlete. And he knew how he wanted each player to play. And if you didn't play like that, he'd ship you down to I don't know.
Not the Vikings.
Not the Vikings. But anyway, he was a very, very fair guy, and he played the guys that he wanted to because he knew how he wanted to play. And for a long time, we were the best, even though we lost 4 Super Bowls. But we had a good football team. And Bud was one of the big things, the coach. If I wanted my grandson to play, I'd like Bud to coach him.
Yeah, so he obviously left an impact on your life for sure.
That's right. That's right.
All right, as we said, we're going to be taking some questions from students throughout the program today. So we're going to have our first student go ahead and step up. When you're up at the microphone, state your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead with your question.
Hello, my name is Jack Nisley. I'm from Perry High School, and my question is, what Hall of Fame value do you think is your strongest, and which one is your weakest?
So the values are commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty. Which one is your strongest and your weakest?
Well, wow. Never thought about it that way. But, I think that all 5 of them are you've got to be able to change how you are growing up in if you come as a rookie, you're going to grow up. If you play 10 years, you're going to completely change what kind of life you have. And it's very important. If you get drafted, like, I don't know how many kids in here are going to get drafted, but I hope everybody does. If you get drafted, first of all, you can't go in there and say, I'm Mr. such and such, and I can do this and I can do that. You're not going to do anything. You still have to participate against all the veterans that are there. And if you go in with the wrong attitude, they don't care about you. You are trying to steal their job. And so I remember when I went to the Vikings after 4 years, the Vikings drafted a kid, number 1 running back in the league, in college football. He didn't make it one week, and he was gone. The number 1 draft choice. So if you think you're going in there and you're going to make fun of all the guys that are already playing on that football team and everything, you better open your eyes, because you're trying to steal their spot on the team, and the rest of the guys know it too. So watch what you do.
Awesome, thanks for that question. We actually have a YouTube question coming here. This is from Ms. Snyder's class in Cambridge, Ohio. They want to know, what is your favorite NFL memory?
Oh. One of my what's my favorite memory?
Yep.
My favorite memory is when we got beat by the Dallas Cowboys in a big game to see who goes to the championship. They threw a bomb to the left corner side, and I was about, maybe 5-6 feet from both of them when we got down to the football field. And they threw the flag. And they said Pearson knocked our guy down, the defensive back down. And I looked at that, and all of a sudden, the guy was picking up that flag and said a touchdown, or said it was a catch ball. That was the worst dang feeling I had in my life. But believe me, somebody turned that play around. That's all I'm saying.
We mentioned at the beginning 81 career interceptions, an NFL record currently, and nobody's close, like you said, to getting to that number. Out of all 81, is there one that stands out to you most as maybe your favorite or the most important in your career?
Well, of course, I remember breaking the record. I got 2 that day against the Los Angeles Rams. But no, I don't really take one over another. How would you like to be chasing Bob Hayes, the fastest man in the world, but he didn't get me beat deep. I was so deep back there, he couldn't.
There's no way he could.
But no, there's good things and bad things about football, and you'll remember some of that stuff. And I remember playing Bob. He wasn't going to beat me deep. But I was so far back there that I don't think they could punt the football that far.
All right, we're going to take some more questions from the back of the room. So go ahead. As the first gentleman did, state your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead with your question.
So my name is Jeremiah Lopez, and I'm from Lorraine High. And my question is what moment in your life was your character tested, and how'd you get through that?
So throughout your life, on the field, off the field, when was your character tested, and how'd you get through that?
Oh, how many times? Probably in high school. You know, they were going to see how much I could take. I played both ways. I played in Flint, Michigan, which was a pretty good football area. And most of the kids that got scholarships from Michigan went to Michigan State or University of Michigan, and all of a sudden I went to Iowa. I went to Iowa because it was an area where I felt home, and being from Flint, you would say, well, that type of area wasn't like your home. But it was my mother's home. She always watched football. My dad always watched football. And they were from a farming country up in northern Michigan. And I always wanted to get out of the big city. And Iowa City was only like 20,000. The school was like 18, 19,000 then. And it was what I wanted. And no matter, I wasn't even considering the type of football they were playing, or I was a football player, a basketball player, and a baseball player. And I ran track in high school. So Iowa was just a nice, sleepy little place. And that's why I took it.
So you mentioned, you said baseball, football, basketball, and track.
I think
this man won 14 high school letters when he was in high school. Played it all and excelled at both. And I believe had some MLB offers coming right out of high school and college. Am I right in saying that?
Right.
So excelled at all these different sports. So why was it important for you to play so many sports? And what were you able to learn from each of those to apply to maybe a different sport to make you the best athlete you can be?
Well, I was all state in all four. I just like to play. Whatever sport came, I played it. And I think I was fair.
Sounds like it. Pretty good.
I high jumped 6'5", and that was a long time ago. I pole vaulted 12'8". That was just in my track. I scored 54 points in one basketball game. I don't know, I just like to play.
You're just one of those guys that could pick up a tennis racket and be good at it.
Well, I'm still shooting in the 80s for golf. So, I'm 81.
That's awesome. That is awesome. All right, we're going to take some more questions from our students in the back. Go ahead and state your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead with your question.
My name is Shabron Smith, and I was wondering, what does it mean to you to be considered one of the greatest safeties in NFL history?
What does it mean to you to be considered one of the greatest safeties of all time?
What does it mean? I thank God for that. I couldn't do it by myself. And I had a great bringing up. Mom and Dad and all of the brothers and sisters went to church every Sunday. I still go to church every Sunday. And I think that, being a great athlete is not everything in your life, but being a good person is. And if you can be a good person rather than a great athlete, I would take the great person. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
You are obviously in the quote-unquote free agency period. New guys going to different teams, guys being traded. You know, we're part of a trade. So what is it to go through that and having to uproot from one location to go to another and pretty much start fresh? You talked about the impact Bud Grant had on you when you got there, so I'm sure that helped. But what was it like to go from one team where you finally get to know everybody to somewhere where you got to start over from scratch?
Well, I did it all my life, you know, really, because I went from Michigan to Iowa, which Iowa was a cornfield, you know, but they had good athletes. And 2 years before I went there, they won the Rose Bowl twice. So they had good athletes. But you know, it's what you put into it. You know, if you're going to be a guy that wants to hoop it up and you know, and holler and fight, you know, and everything, I wouldn't want to coach you. But if you're a guy that hits hard and plays hard and you get along with all of your teammates and the coaches and everything, you're the kind of guy I want.
All right, we got our next student question ready, so go ahead and state your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead with your question.
I'm Gabriel Bunting with Norton Middle School, and my question is, if you could have played with any other Hall of Famer of your choice, who would you choose?
Play with any Hall of Famer on your team.
Jimmy Brown.
That was easy.
You don't have to ask me that twice. Jimmy Brown was the best athlete I've ever seen. And he was All-American, I don't know what you call it, what sport?
Lacrosse, right?
Lacrosse, yeah, thank you. And I'll tell you what, I was sitting in some place around this building last year, and Jimmy Brown walked in, sat right down beside me, and you know, we said hello and everything, and I hugged him. Last year was the first year that I was the only guy that played against him. And I'll tell you, everybody thinks they got the best. And I don't know if they do or not. But Jimmy Brown was the best I've ever seen. I got a picture of him against the Washington Redskins, and I was way down at his knees, and there were 6 guys trying to knock him down. So that was 7, and he just went in for a touchdown. 7 guys were on him. And as far as I'm concerned, Jimmy Brown's best.
You talk a little bit about, you know, you mentioned a little bit coming back here to Canton and getting to see all of the Hall of Famers. And I think it's a cool relationship because, you know, you grow up and you play against a guy like Jimmy Brown and he's, you know, he's on the other team. But there's such a level of respect between people who, not only when you play, but then once you're in that room with all the Hall of Famers. Can you talk a little bit about how high that level of respect is between all?
Well, you know, I have been in these rooms for a long time now, and you don't walk around saying, I'm the best. You don't do that. And, you know, every guy in the Hall of Fame is the best. You know, they're great people, they're great athletes, and they'll do anything for each other. And that tells you that being in the Hall of Fame is the best place to be.
So I always like to ask and get, you know, you come to Canton as Paul Krause, NFL player, NFL legend. What's it like to walk through the doors now as Paul Krause, Hall of Famer? Does it feel different? Does it feel a little cooler walking through knowing that you're a Hall of Famer?
You know something? I really don't want to do that. I want to walk through like these guys are great players. And some of them are going to be huge, great players. And if I can help them in any way, that's the way I want to help.
Awesome. All right, we're going to go to our next question in the back. Go ahead and state your name, your school, and then go ahead with your question.
My name is Tyler Fogo, and I'm with Lorraine High. And my question is, who influenced you the most in your life, and how or why did that person do it?
Who influenced you the most in your life?
My mom and dad. My dad beat me up from the basement to the stairs and said, "Don't do that again." And I never did. Boy, he whipped me good. And my mom was just as tough. But I love them the most.
Was there a coach maybe you had in high school or college that kind of had a huge impact on you as well? We obviously talked about Bud Grant, but was there somebody outside of Bud who also had a big influence on your life?
Well, I didn't, once I was in high school, and I don't want to say this wrong, I thought I was the best one on the floor or the field, but I didn't show it like that. You know, I didn't walk up to anybody or say, you know, I'm the best, you know, or on the basketball floor or wherever. You know, I think I'm a guy that is not that type of guy. I'm the best. No, you're not. You know, there's a lot of other people better than you, better than me. You know, that's, you have to learn that you got to play the best. Be the best out there, but don't let anybody know it until they try to catch you from behind or something like that. You know, just treat other players like they're the best until you can beat them.
It sounds to me through your career that humility played a huge role. So how were you able to stay humble through all of that success and kind of have that mantra that, hey, I know I'm doing well on the field, but I can't show that, and I have to support my other teammates throughout your career?
I think that comes from my background, my parents, and my growing up, because, you know, my dad was probably the best, and, you know, he had 8 brothers, and they were on the baseball team. They were the best. But, you know, how am I going to say I'm better than Jimmy Brown? Never will. You know, but, you know, there's a lot of defensive backs. There's a lot of every other spot, you know. I don't care if you're a lineman or a backfield or a quarterback or whatever. You're probably going to find somebody better than you.
It's going to happen, right?
That happens.
All right, we got some awesome questions here in the back, so go ahead and state your name, the school you go to, and go ahead with your question.
I'm Noah Smith from Lorraine High School, and we've been talking about you have 81 interceptions, the career record, and I just wanted to know, when did that become a goal for you in your career?
When did it become a goal? Did you, first off, was it a goal for you when you started to
No.
break the, but then
No,
when did
never.
when did you realize, like, I think I can get this?
When I was about 78. Really. I mean, those quarterbacks don't have to throw it, you know, and some didn't. You know, no, I never really thought that I was going to break it until maybe 78 or in the 80s. And then I got 2 in 1 game. It's a good feeling, but somebody's going to break that record. I hope it's somebody in here. You know, I don't need that record anymore. You know, because you know, people, what are we playing for? We're playing for our team. And you know, you want the team to win, not just you break records. I was fortunate, believe me. You know, I played 16 years in pro football. I missed 2 games. There's a goal for you. There's a goal for you. Don't, you know, get your body in shape and work hard. And, you know, don't be doing, you know, I've never had a drink of beer to this day. I've never smoked cigarettes. Protect your body, and if you want to be a good football player, be a good person.
Thank you for that answer.
You bet.
That's awesome. All right, we're going to go ahead with our next student. So go ahead and step up to the microphone. State your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead with your question. Had a long way to walk. Go ahead.
My name is Sergio Mayorana, and I go to Norton Middle School. And my question for you is, how did your success change the relationships that you had?
Did you see any differences once you started to become known and have a certain level of success on the field? Did it change any of the relationships, or were you still just...
Any relationships between my teammates?
Yeah, teammates, family?
No. My teammates, we got along great. You know, after a while, they did say, you know, let's get Krause's 81. You know, but it wasn't that big of a thing.
How, you know, you said in your enshrinement speech, you obviously played with the Purple People Eaters, and, you know, you had that important team dynamic on that team. How important is it to have that, whether it's in football or in the classroom or in your family? How important is it to be a part of a team like that?
Well, the Minnesota Vikings, when I played, I think we were probably the team of the league because we had no enemies on the team. Mm-hmm. Bud Grant, our coach, didn't allow that. And if somebody was trying to be, he'd ship them off, you know. But we had great teams and with great people. You know, I could say every one of them were my best friends.
Awesome. All right, we'll take another question here from the back. Go ahead and state your name, the school you go to, and go ahead with your question.
My name is Evan Rikovic from Lorraine High, and my question is, you played in 4 different Super Bowls with the Vikings, but unfortunately never won one. What did that experience teach you?
Not to bring up a sore subject. Played in 4 Super Bowls, obviously didn't win any of them. What did playing in those 4 games teach you?
What did playing in those 4 games teach me? That we're all subject to something like that. You know, I mean, you can't win every game. You can't be the best player in the league or whatever. You know, there's something going to slow you down. But you know, if I owe my ability to God. I don't own it to me. I don't own it to my coaches. I can't put together my body or my brain. You've got to take what you have and try to develop it into what you want. And there are a lot of guys out there doing it. I mean, best quarterback who's ever played. Look at him. You know, he's so far ahead of the others that, but now he's retired.
Yep.
But there's going to be somebody that's going to, I don't know if he's going to beat his record. It's going to be tough. But I don't know if he's going to beat his record or whatever, you know, basketball, baseball, whatever. Sports. Just try to live a good life. And that's tough enough.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You know, obviously at the end of everybody's career, there's a transition, you know, with some players going to coaching, some going to broadcasting, some just, you know, are done with the game. Now, you have a very unique thing. I heard, obviously, we had Edgerrin James in here last week talking to some of our staff. He did an interview on the Mission podcast, and he's doing a classic and awesome car show that's going to be taking place here in Canton during Enshrinement Week. Now, I understand you've been doing that a long time. You got an awesome bike that you got signed by a lot of Hall of Famers. What was it about that attracted you to that passion or to collect things like that?
Well, I'm from Flint, Michigan. That's where the cars were made. You know, and I grew up 16 years old. My brothers made me a car, a little rat rod, as we call it now. And through my years, I have bikes and cars.
Is there one of your favorites?
No.
Can't pick a favorite?
No, there's pretty good cars.
Why is it, how important is it, or how cool is it to see a guy like Edgerrin James, who played on a totally different, you know, part of the game than you, have the same passion, and you're able to bond over that, not only as Hall of Famers, but as people who have the same passion outside the game?
Well, you know, we both like the same things. Why not get together? You know? My goodness, I have a lot of friends, you know, and some of them have cars and some of them don't, but or some of them had motorcycles. I went around the United States. I touched all four corners on a motorcycle.
Wow.
So, you know, you know, I'm nuts a little bit, but, and I drove a car 185 miles an hour.
That's fast.
Down on it was a Porsche. You know, he wouldn't let me go any farther.
All right, got some more questions. Go here in the back. Go ahead, state your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead with your question.
My name's Sean Budziak. I'm from Perry High School. How did you take the lessons you learned from playing football and apply them to your own life?
The lessons you learned from the game. We talked about some of the lessons that Coach Grant taught you. How did you apply those to life off the field, maybe life today?
Well, you know, Bud Grant was a great coach. He didn't take any crap. He would give it, you know, and he would let the players give it to each other. But when it got down to the seriousness of playing the game, you better have your thoughts right all in your helmet, you know, or in your heart. If you didn't show him you wanted to play, you were gone. So, you know, playing football or playing any other sport, you know, it takes a lot of heart, because you're going to get beat, or you're going to win, you're going to get hurt, something's going to happen to you that you don't know about yet, and you got to work your way through that. And so you got to stand up like a man, and you know, my goodness, I went away from Iowa, or from Michigan to Iowa, and I saw all those big farmer boys down there. I thought I was going to get killed, you know. But you have to make a choice. You know, are you going to be a good football player, a good person, or a guy that just jacks around? It's your choice.
We talked a lot about your career so far. Obviously, you know, the don't get beat deep, the 4 words that Bud told you. But when you started in the league, obviously, you know, you mentioned played against Jim Brown. What was your welcome to the NFL moment? What was that first moment when you were like, all right, I'm here, this is different than college?
I was playing the Cleveland Browns my first game against Jimmy Brown, but I got 2 interceptions.
All right.
And for some reason, they just kept coming.
It's one of those games where everything.
I don't know why I was chosen to have 81. You know, I really don't know, but I think it's the type of life that I've lived.
Awesome. All right. Go back for a couple more questions here. Go ahead and state your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead with your question.
My name is Antoni Spertone. I go to Perry High School, and my question is there a player in the game that you think reminds you of the way you played?
Player in today's game. Do you see a little bit of Paul Krause in any of those safeties out in the game today?
No, they all played up too much, and they all get beat. I'm sick and tired of watching a free safety get beat deep. You know, why? Why does a coach tell him to edge up or do this or do that if you're supposed to be stopping touchdowns? And I have no idea why they get beat deep. Really? I mean, you know, I've never had a coach like come up and tell me how I caught all those balls. You know why? Because he doesn't want to be proved wrong on how he's coaching.
You know, you look at your career, obviously playing safety, and for those of you that know the game of football, sometimes safety's told to play center field. You know, take away the deep ball. So, you know, can you talk a little bit about what it means, get into a little X's and O's here about playing center field, playing the safety position, and why you had some success and the great success that you did in your career?
Well, I think I knew football better than some quarterbacks, and also in my career I had 11, I think it's 11 or 18 fumbles, so I'm not always back there, you know, but I play my position. You know, if they want me up, I go up. If they want me back, I go back. And there was, I was going to say there's nobody played it like I did, but there were. but maybe they didn't have that speed, or maybe they didn't know how to turn around quicker. You know, I'm really, I mean, I was very nimble on my feet, and you know, anytime a defensive back turns and makes the circle to turn around, you're beat. You're beat right then. So you've got to learn to, with your legs, open up this way or open up this way, but not this way. Once you turn that body around, you're beat.
So all the coaches out there in the room watching, some A1 advice from a Hall of Fame safety right there. All right, we got time for a couple more questions in the back, so we're going to go back to the here. Go ahead, state your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead with your question.
My name is Trent Taylor. I go to Perry High School. My question is, was there a wide receiver or NFL passer that made you a little extra nervous when you were preparing during your career?
Yeah, everybody. Everybody I played with was trying to beat me. But, there was some good quarterbacks and some so-so quarterbacks, and so-so wide receivers. You know, I'll tell you right now, I've talked to it before, you know, I was never going to let Bob Hayes get behind me. I don't care how deep I went. You know, fastest man in the world then. You know, I'm probably the slowest defensive back. I don't know. But, you know, you just, quarterbacks. Johnny Unitas was very, very good. Most of you guys don't even remember him. Everybody know Johnny Unitas? No?
A few hands go up. All the adults are nodding their head.
Yeah. Johnny Unitas was with the Colts. And boy, I'll tell you what, he was the best quarterback playing then. But we have that, you know, you have good quarterbacks come in and roll in and they roll out. But, you know, it's, I don't know, I always kind of baited them. So, you know, I would make a cut or something like that and try to tell the quarterback I'm not looking or going a different way. You know, it's all a game.
Awesome. All right, thank you for that question. It looks like we got another student question here in the back, so go ahead. Step up, state your name, school you go to, and then go ahead with your question.
My name is Avery Martin, and I go to Lorraine High. And my question is, I play free safety, so how do I not get beat?
He wants to know, he plays free safety in high school. How does he not get beat?
Always be in a position on the wide receiver that he can't turn you around. Every player in the league seems to get turned around, you know, and if you practice, you know, taking a step with this back, you know, or the other way, step with this back, at least you're not going to get beat by a long way. It all depends on how fast you are, too. But do not get in the habit of turning that circle. Because if you turn that circle, as you're turning, he's throwing the ball right there. Because you cannot react that quick. In practice, always try to run with your legs in the with this in the center. You know, go go like this. If these guys are gonna run at me, run like that. You know, open up. But don't go all around this way and because he's gone. You know, so practice running back this way and opening up, or this way and opening up. That way you won't get your back turned to your receiver. And if you can do that like that, the Vikings will catch you.
How old did you say you were?
Pardon?
How old did you say you were?
81.
81 years old, still flipping the hips up here on the
Wow.
stage.
Thank you.
Just a couple more questions here before we wrap up. Just got to want to talk a little bit about the process of becoming a Hall of Famer. Obviously, we just went through this process with our newest class of 2023. You went through that. What was that moment like when you got the call, letting you know you were going to be a Hall of Famer?
Well, they called too late, about 10 years. But no, I was almost guaranteed the Hall of Fame without, with those catches.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it took me about 15 years. I don't know, what were they doing?
I wasn't here.
I mean, a guy breaks all the records, and they still don't put me in the Hall.
It's funny, you mentioned that you hear so many things, but then you finally do get that call. And it's kind of funny how all that goes away once you get inducted. What was it like to feel that relief and know?
I made it.
Yeah.
I finally made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Hall of Fame is a good target for you. It's a good target for you. But don't go every play or every game saying, man, the Hall of Fame, the Hall of Fame. Because you got to go through high school, college, and then to get a offer to go to try out and everything. So, it's a long way away, but it's not a long way away. If you're good enough and everything, they'll come out and find you.
Absolutely. All right, my last question here today, and this is how we like to wrap up every program. If you can send the students who are here with us live in person, everybody watching online, with one piece of advice. What's that one piece of advice, that one sticking point you want them to remember from today?
Well, my advice might be different than others, but, live your life like you know you should. Don't get in trouble, because I know what trouble is. From where I'm from, there was a lot of trouble in Flint, Michigan. But, if you want to be an athlete or you want to be a good person, just tell yourself what to do, what not to do, and live that way. You have to, and it would be good to pick a friend that wasn't in fights all the time. Is he fighting? Huh? No, pick a friend that's not in fights all the time. Pick a friend that's not in trouble with the teachers and with the everything. Pick a friend that you can rely on. You can rely on.
All right, with that, we're going to wrap up this installment of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, part of the Hall of Famer series. Connected by Extreme Networks. Again, Paul, thank you so much for being a part of the program today, taking time out of your busy day. Thank you, everybody who came here. We cannot thank you enough for all the participation this year. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you next week.
How much time we got?
Good. All right, let me get your mic real quick.